Hi, everyone. As we're getting close to the end of this year 2022, about to start 2023, I'd like to give you a message today that if we can implement this in our life, 2023 will be a very different year. You know, they asked this question, what's the difference between a recession and a depression? So recession is when your neighbors lose their jobs, and a depression is when you lose the job. You know, if you think about the last times you cried, why did you cry? What were the reasons why you cried? This week's Torah portion talks about two brothers that were crying, Joseph and Benjamin. After 22 years, Joseph and Benjamin finally met. The Torah tells us, the Bible tells us, they each fell on each other's shoulder, and each one cried because what was going to happen to the other family in the future. Joseph saw that he cried because what he saw in Benjamin's section in Israel, there's the Holy Temple, and it's going to be destroyed. So he cried about that. And Benjamin cried because he saw that in Joseph's section, the Mishkan is going to be built and it'll be destroyed. And the rabbis ask a question we don't understand. It says, Adam Karav Eitzel, that what affects a person affects the most what happens to that individual person. So why was Joseph crying more about what's happening to Benjamin, and Benjamin was crying more about what's happening to Joseph? If anything, usually we cry more if something happens to me. Why in general do we cry? The reason we cry is when we're in a situation we feel there's no hope or there's nothing we could do, when it's out of our control, we cry. And when we feel better, that we're able to, when we cry, it kind of relieves some tension, some stress. Crying helps us regarding that. So you see, my friends, when something happens to you that you could do something about it, there's no reason to cry. You get up and do something about it. When something happens to you, you could do something about it. But what happens in somebody else's section, what happens in somebody else's life, that you cry about because you need them to do something about it. And this is such an important message in life, that when challenges come our way, don't sit down and cry. You stand up and we say, what am I going to do about this challenge, and turn it into action. But when something happens to your friend, to your neighbor, they have to do the work. So we cry and we pray to God to give our neighbor, our friend, our family member the strength that they need to overcome their challenges. So for ourselves, it's get up and let's do something about it. For our friend, our neighbor, they need our empathy and our sympathy and our prayer. And if they ask us for help, to help them in any way. If we could implement these things, then no matter what challenge comes our way, we're going to get up and say, you know what? Stop crying. Let me get up and do something about it. And when it comes to our friend, have the empathy and the care and the prayer for them. We'll be blessed that 2023 will be the most beautiful, meaningful year of our life. Shabbat Shalom.